Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we are back on the How About That SMP. Just last episode we built this huge, ginormous cherry tree in our base. We also terrained all of this area around, we added a pond, we even redid our nether portal. And in the pond we of course have our 4 little axolotls. We still need to at some point try and obtain the blue one to add to the pond so that we have all 4. Now, like I said at the end of last episode, our plans for this episode are going to be coming on back here and terraining and dealing with all of this that is, back here. It's still ugly, unterrained. The goal for this area is going to be adding a huge horse stable somewhere around here. So we are going to have to go ahead and remove those 3 chunks of stone. Also, every single one of them is completely filled with water, like an aqueduct. I'm really failing at flying right now. But every single one of these is completely filled with water. You can see that one, and this one. This one's, yeah, they're all full of water. It all sucks. So that's going to be fun to remove. But we are also going to add a huge horse racetrack in this area. So we'll be able to invite over some of the other server members, and we'll do some horse racing. Now, before we get too much farther into this episode, I thought we should go take a look at Spy Zombie's base. Or, not necessarily his base, but more his farming area. Because in between episodes, I actually helped him out with his gold farm. You see, he built up this huge gold farm off of a tutorial that he found on the internet, and then later realized that it doesn't actually work. So here it is. In between episodes, I came over here and I helped him tear all of it up, and we rebuilt it because I've built a lot and designed a lot of gold farms within the last 5 years. Long before I started this YouTube channel, I've always been very good at designing and making these gold farms work. So once he realized it didn't work, he called me up and I helped him out. And in return, normally I wouldn't even bother mentioning this because it's not that big of a deal, but in return, he gave me a select choice of armor trims. I know that he had already given me some for an earlier project, so to be honest, I'm not sure which ones I got from him for doing this project, but we now have 4 of the 16 armor trims. I think there's 16. We also have 4 smithing templates. So overall, we're doing very well. We have a lot of those. Anyway, let's go ahead and tidy up this area, prepare it for building. Alright everybody, so I dug the hole. Now before I show you the hole, you just need to know it's a very big hole. And that's about it. It's a very big hole. Yeah, this thing's huge. However, I did notice when I was spacing some things out in the creative world, it's not as big as I thought it was going to be. That does not matter, because I have planned out what is going to go in here. I think, despite it not being as large as I originally imagined, it is going to look very nice, fit quite well, so we need to go ahead and now get some resources. But before we get those resources, I just want to discuss how we're breaking this up. We're going to break this up into 5 parts. 1 is going to be the stable itself. 2 is going to be the speed test track. So we're going to have a strip of land where you can test your horse's speed. We're going to have a jumping area where you can jump your horse and see how high of a jumper that horse can be. And then, of course, we're going to have the horsey racetrack. We're going to plan that out, and we can race against our friends someday. And, of course, the final step is going to be decorating it all to make it all look very nice and natural, just like we did with the rest of the base in the last episode. All of this groundwork around here. Now that we've broken this up into the 5 different sections, let's go ahead and get the resources for section number 1. So I'm just over here finishing up gathering the last bits of resources. We are going to have to do a little bit of work here. So first of all this copper is just going to oxidize once placed on the build, because I don't think I'm going to bother spacing it out. However, I put all the ink I had into it and spent some time gathering a little bit more ink. And I realized that to make all the dark prismarine we're going to need, it might be easier just to try and make a small squid farm. Wrong box. So I might go ahead and do a small squid farm right after this. We have most of what we need. For the roof, I don't know exactly how much we're going to need. I'm assuming this will be enough. This is definitely going to be enough wood. We got some other extra bits. All of these boxes are completely empty as of right now because we are going to need a whole bunch of decorated pots. Now, personally, I understand why they don't stack. You know, if they don't match, they don't stack. I get that, but seeing as these all match, I really feel like these should be able to stack, Mojang. Because otherwise, if you're doing a build that's using a whole bunch of these, like I am now, you need to get a whole bunch of shulker boxes just to fill them up with decorated pots. Like, for instance, a stack of decorated pots is going to fill up 2 shulker boxes, pretty much. It's just kind of ridiculous. But there are all of the decorated pots that we're going to need now. And now we are going to go ahead, get the resources separately for a little squid farm, and then finish up this dark prismarine that we need for the build. Alright everybody, so the glass has just finished smelting. We can go ahead and add everything into this box. So I have enough to do a 16 by 16 area, so 1 chunk of magma on the floor, and then walls on each side going up 4 blocks tall. And then I got the 2 buckets of water so we can go around and fill it up. Oh, also, I wanted to show you guys, if anybody was curious just how many items I got out of that hole over there, I have 8 shulker boxes of just stone, 6 of cobblestone. Down here, I've got 2 shulker boxes of granite, 2 of diorite, and 1 of andesite. Alright everybody, so in between the last clip and now, I have made it out here, but I've made a few changes to our design. So previously here, mobs, squids, fish, dolphins, they could all spawn up in the sky as long as they were in a ocean biome. However, previous Minecraft updates have changed that, so they have to spawn in the ocean levels, so they have to be Y level 62 or below. So it has to be on sea level here. So I'm trying to set up 4 squid farms all the way around the Guardian farm just to make it even. I've set up a little AFK spot right here. This is the center of them all. I think a little off center from that one to that one, but I'd have to break the bubble columns, and we're not going to do that. I have gathered a lot more glass and magma, and then I gathered a bunch of rails and stuff to do the collection systems. But now the issue is just going to be making sure that fish can't spawn in other places. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is we're going to set this up like this. And if we go up in the air, you can see that, of course, these 4 little cubes that I've set up are in place. And they're able to collect, you know, the squids if we set up the magma and whatnot. But the issue is all this other open ocean that is available. Now, I don't know if we're going to have to drain it. I think if we just cover it, we'll be good. We can do like slabs. Because I'm pretty sure fish and stuff can only spawn if they are considered a surface spawn, meaning they can't have blocks above them. So as long as we just set up a floor, we can do top half or bottom half slabs so that zombies and creepers can't spawn around here and blow it up. And we should be good. So what we're going to go ahead and do now is build up these 4 identical farms. We're going to set up some water systems. And then we're going to have to think about putting slabs on this. We'll do a little test, but I feel very confident in saying that we're going to have to go ahead and get out some slabs. Anyways, I don't want to have to think too much about needing slabs and stuff right now, because hopefully we won't need it. We'll have to do a test, like I said. But first, we need to go ahead and actually construct the 4 farms. So let's go ahead and roll the clip. Alrighty, everybody. So, as you saw from that time lapse, all 4 of the little mini squid farms have been completed. Now, of course, we are going to have to get those slabs and fill in these areas surrounding them, and I will take care of that very soon. But first, I want to together hook up these 4 individual farms to our main storage system over here. So I went ahead and I switched these out, so I removed 1 for prismarine shards and crystals, and I added 2 for ink, and I gathered up all the resources that I should end up needing to make the auto droppers required to hook these up to our main storage. So what we're going to end up doing is we're going to remove this block, and we're going to install an auto dropper system just right here. Okay, it's facing up, which is not supposed to be the case, so there we go, and it would be just like that. And then we're going to need another dropper, because right here we're going to have a single column of items that will come straight up here, and then using hoppers we can bring it over to this dispenser. So we are going to need 2 separate automatic dropper systems. We're going to go ahead and put in our dropper. We're also going to grab a hopper and stick it going into there, so we'll get double items coming in, making it a bit more effective. Grab one of our soul sand, we're going to stick it right there so that we can shoot the things straight up. Now we need to go ahead and grab ourselves a comparator. We're going to go ahead and walk over here, put in our comparator. We're going to have that go into a block with a sticky piston on top. I'm now realizing that these 2 blocks actually are going to need to get removed, because this piston, if there's items in here, will extend. We're actually going to want that glass back. Here's where we're going to grab 2 observers, because we're going to have an observer facing up here. So what we need to do is we need to set up a way for me to place this. If we wiggle around enough, we can actually, let's just break this hopper right now. Get in here, we'll set a temporary block there, place in the observer, we'll put our hopper back, remove the temporary block, and we need to put in another observer facing downwards. So we're actually going to break those 2 glass, put that in there, put those 2 glass back, and now the items are being shot straight up. Actually, right here, we need to remove the water source so it's flowing water, and then we need to put 2 glass. So any items that come up get shoved into these hoppers and go into this dispenser. Yeah, this is actually going to be a bit finicky. But if I set one of these up like this, the issue is going to be that I need the observers to set this off. So maybe if we set something up like this, so that the observers are facing into each other. Look at that. So it is dispensing now. Now, repeaters do work underwater, so we could actually try and set that up. That would be a bit more difficult, though. Let's go ahead and try it, because I don't have any other ideas. Got my repeaters out. So if we set this up so it goes... Alright, I figured it out. So, if I were to get a piston right here, when this activates, it'll power it. We put a redstone block there. That should power this whole system. But we are going to need to set this up to get powered for once. So let's get powered. You can take the items out and it will deactivate. But now, let's just put those crossbows in as an example. Yep. So now if we went ahead and covered this all up, yep, items will just come on out and they will flow along. Alright, so I'm glad that we got to walk through that. I'm going to do the rest off camera though. I have no points in showing you guys me doing the exact same thing 3 times over. That would just be incredibly boring. Alright everybody, so I have gone ahead and I have hooked up the other 3 squid farm setups. They're all now wired into the glass chamber, but these are all hooked up now and pretty much ready to go. Now down here, I still have this armor stand. We can go ahead and switch it to the spawn sphere mode. Now I know that squid and fish spawning is slightly different to normal mob spawning, so the sphere might not be the most accurate, but it will show us where we need to spawn proof. I have 4 boxes of stone. Right here, this was from clearing out the massive hole we dug earlier in the episode, and we are going to get back to that, but we got to finish this project first. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to section all of these off and cover them with stone blocks and then bottom half slabs. And that should stop any spawning under the ocean. But I'm going to go ahead and section all of these off, get these done, and then we will have the working squid farm. And we can finally get the ink needed to make all of our dark prismarine for the horse stable. Alright everybody, welcome back. So, I have finished all 4 of the things on the corner. Also, if you're hearing background noise, that is because I forgot to turn off my fan, and I don't want to get up, so we're just gonna record this clip with the fan running in the background. Anyway, if we jump on down here, we can go ahead and set up our little AFK spot. I just wanted to make sure that it was safe, generally. I probably don't need these 4 blocks, but I'm actually going to go ahead and get another glass block. Because by putting them there, I can ensure that mobs can't somehow hit me through the corners. Because as I'm sure you know, if you dug a hole before, or you built a little box for yourself, and you like sat in that box, where it's just on the corners, like this pretty much, imagine now 2 blocks here as well, zombies can still hit you if they're standing here. So by doing it this way, I should be ensured safety, because now nothing can stand there or there to get me. And then, of course, nothing can stand there or there, because there's bubble columns. So if they do stand there, they'll die, and if they stand there, they're going up. Plus, nothing should be spawning anyway, this whole platform is lit up. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to start editing the video, because I haven't actually edited any of my footage yet, and we're going to do a rate test. And that was a huge failure right there. But we're going to go ahead and do a rate test to see how much ink we get. This should be our ink things, yeah, so these chests aren't even starting to fill up yet. But assuming that our rate test goes well, we should have some ink. So I'm going to go ahead and put an hour on the clock, and I will meet you guys once that hour is up. Alright everybody, so we are back. Edited up a bunch of the video. We're actually at about 18 minutes so far, so yes, it's going to be a bit of a long one. Anyways, I added in a filter to collect bones because I don't have any source of bone meal yet. I don't have a bone farm, so I thought if I'm getting it from this, I might as well add it. I also added one for salmon because why not? I have a lot of cod. But I'm not collecting the tropical fish. I have no need for them. Looking at the ink, we unfortunately did not get as much as I was hoping for. In 1 hour, we got 2 2/3 of a stack, pretty much. So, unfortunately, in order to get a full 9 stacks in there to get as much dark prismarine as we need, we're probably going to have to AFK for another 2.5 to 3 hours, which is really unfortunate, but it's going to take how long it's going to take, I guess. So I'll see you guys once I have enough ink to actually get the dark prismarine. Alright everybody, so once again, it is raining. I swear it's always raining. But, 4 hours later. I'm not joking. It's been 4 hours. I checked at 3 hours. Alright, not joking. I checked at 8. I came back, and I was missing 2 stacks. However, we do only need 8, but this thing seems to be very inconsistent. I don't know what is wrong with it, because after 1 hour, I had gotten 40 ink. That first hour, we had 2 stacks and 40. Then the third hour, I got like a stack and 62, I want to say it was. And then that fourth hour, alright, that fourth hour, it seems like I got 3 stacks pretty much. I don't know what is up, but that is a very inconsistent, very, very broken farm. Not very good. Okay. Oh, I gotta go back. I got the ink, but I don't have the shards. I need to make it into Dark Prismarine. Alright, I'll meet you guys when I'm back at home. Alright, everybody! So, back at home. All the Dark Prismarine is in the box. Now, I'm gonna stash these remaining 8. Now, to be honest with you, I have no idea if this is gonna be enough materials for the roof. I'm really just estimating there. I don't have an exact amount needed for that one. But we'll find out, I guess. Alright everybody, so we have finished the stable build. Now, before you ask why there's sheep in my house, that's because there was a small little pen holding 2 sheep over there where we built the stable, so I had to, of course, move the sheep. But if we go ahead and take a look, there it is. It's a very different design. I feel like most Minecraft stables you see, they're very just barn-like, if you get that. But I think the roof is very unique. I'm really happy with how it came out. After the time-lapse finished, I added a few finer details. So we have these brushes on hooks, 2 on this end and 2 on the far end. Because you know how like in stables, you'll have to brush down your animals sometimes, get dirt or whatever off of them. I just thought it was a nice touch. I also changed out some of the fences for cauldrons, like water trouts for the horses to drink. I haven't textured the floor or anything yet. We're going to use that as a part of stage 5. If we head up the ladder, we have a dyeing station for all of our leather horse armor. We got a barrel full of water, and then others just to store dye, leather, and whatnot. Over here, we have a 18 armor stands, all holding a book and quill, because the point is that they are going to... oh no. The point is they are going to kind of hold the recipes, so we can grab the book, we can open it up, and we can see what the recipe used to make the color of leather armor that armor stand is wearing is. That way the recipe for every set of leather horse armor we make can be saved and we can have the color documented. Over here is just storage for our horse armors like iron, gold, and diamond. And I set up a little piglin dude, and he's like forging them. Gave him an iron shovel to use as the hammer because there's no hammers in Minecraft, and I thought it looked the closest. Of course, I stocked this place full of wheat because the horses got to eat. And then also over here is just some storage for our saddles. And if we head up one more layer, there is the top layer. I don't plan on adding any special decorations or anything up here. It's just a fun little area, and it adds some extra height to the build. Now, these 2 decorated pots up here are visible on this end and the other end, and I was going to add pottery shards to them to make them look more detailed because you can actually see those pots. But all the pottery shards that I had them before 120 officially released. I had them when we were playing with the experimental features. When 120 dropped, all my shards disappeared. So I no longer have any pottery shards. So we will have to do a bit of an expedition to get pottery sherds to decorate these pots at a later date. Also, since the time lapse, I have AFK'd a decent bit, trying to get the copper to age. There's thankfully no more orange, but it's still not all in that final stage of blue yet. Also, I've gotten sick since then, so that's why my voice sounds weird if anybody has noticed. Anyways, next up, I have gathered some of the fences and stuff, and we're going to do a redstone thing. Let's set up the horse strip runway to test their speed, and then a little jumping area to test how high they can jump. Alright everybody, so before I show you what I've done in between now and the last clip that you guys saw, I just want to go ahead and say that we're probably not going to get to the Great Horse Course today, because unfortunately I am running out of time. This video is approaching that 30-minute mark. It's just getting too long. I only wanted this video to be 15 to 20 minutes and we're already over 20, so yeah, we'll get to this in the next episode, but we are not done yet. We still have a lot of stuff to do in this episode. So, first of all, this is going to be a tree. Don't judge it quite yet. Trust me, this will become a very beautiful tree. As you saw in that mini time lapse, we built up this course and we built up the jumps. Now, in between now and then, I've wired up some redstone. So when you get to the end of the course, you activate the pressure plates, and what happens is that activates the redstone line, going all the way down like so. Now, what's important is that there's also this button here at the beginning, and when you click it, it activates a short timer, and then releases the gate so you can go. And what I'm going to do right now, what we're going to do together actually, is wire both of these into a T flip-flop. Now for the T flip-flop, we need a dropper there, 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 and a hopper going down into there. Now you take one random item and you stick it inside of that dropper, and then when powered, the T flip-flop will release a output. So if I add a comparator right there, temporarily we'll put a button here. When I click this button, you'll get an output because the item is now here. And if I click it again, the item goes here. Now when I click this, it goes here and then immediately gets spits into the hopper and goes down into this. That is why you get this signal. And now what we have to do is we're going to take the line from the output at the end and at the beginning, wire them both going right into this. That way they get activated and deactivated at the exact same time. Right here, we're going to have a redstone torch, and we need 3 repeaters right there, because there's 3 repeaters going down this line. We want these to be exactly the same. I am going to have to go get some more redstone real quick. More redstone has been acquired. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Here we should probably be able to put a solid block. And now let's see what happens. So I don't have a comparator down yet. Hold up. Put down our comparator. If we activate this. Oh, I haven't put any blocks in there. Hold up. 1 piece of granite. There's a output. Oh, does that not work? Alright, I rewired it a little bit, so now the redstone torch is here, and then this wire right here just runs into the front of it. So now if we hit the button, the signal is removed, and if we hit that button again, the signal is returned. Now, we gotta activate it down here and see what happens. So the signal is removed. And now the signal has been returned. Alright, perfect. Now we need a redstone clock. So there is a clock design. It's a very basic design, I've used it for years, but you're able to get a clock that works pretty much every 1 minute on the dot. Or not 1 minute, sorry, 1 second. Grab our stone, there and there. Redstone torch, repeater, max delay, redstone, or a block, and then redstone dust. Now that's how that works. But what we want to do is take the sticky piston and have it there, and it puts this block into spot whenever there's a output here. Alright everybody, and there you have it. So now, when you activate this, that T flip-flop gets activated, activating this clock, and when you hit it again, it deactivates it. So now, if we go ahead and get a horse down here, we can do a quick test run on this little section of track here. Now, I don't actually have any horses inside the overworld that I could easily get down here, because my main horse, Boots, is upstairs, but I do have a horse in the Nether that we can use for just this purpose. So here in the Nether, I have a horse for transportation. This is Nether Horse, and today Nether Horse is going to be aiding us in testing our speed track. Alright, now I am going to have to make a path that goes down to here, but that's not important right now. We can go ahead and test out Nether Horse in a second. First, we're just going to put a bunch of random items in there, and then of course we need to make access to the track. Now, for every second that I'm on the track, this machine will dispense 1 item. And we're also actually just going to cover up right here, and we'll see where the items end up going. Actually, we're just going to hit this right now. Alright, that's very good. I was afraid that the items might go next to that repeater. Now let's go ahead, grab Nether Horse, and let's go for a test run. Hit the button, get to the gates, get released, and when you make it all the way to the end, it will get deactivated. Now, what's great about this is Nether Horse will be the first inhabitant to sit inside of our stable. Of course, I'm going to return him to the Nether, but as of right now, he is the first inhabitant. Now, how many blocks of stone were dispensed? Let me empty out my inventory. 4. Now, if we do some basic math real quick, we can grab our calculator out. Now, here on our calculator, we had 4 items that got dispensed, and the track is 50 blocks long. So if we take 50, we go ahead and divide it by 4, we will get 12.5 blocks per second. Now, of course, up on screen, as you saw while we were riding the horse through, it wasn't an exact 4 seconds, but this is about as accurate as you're going to get for in-game purposes, because otherwise, you're not going to be able to get a clock that's that accurate. You're going to end up with a lot of inaccuracies, and I tried a lot of different clocks before settling on this design, but this was the easiest one that I could do, and it was incredibly close to a second. But this is no different than if I were just timing it with a stopwatch, and then dividing the track length by the time on the stopwatch afterwards. Just this is a full in-game method. Very simple, very easy, and I just figured this works very well, we might as well just stick with this. Anyways, now that we have done a bit more redstone together this episode, let's go ahead and initiate the final time-lapse of this episode. It is time to go ahead and fully decorate this entire area. Alright, everybody. I am happy to report that I've successfully finished up the decoration step of this project. We can go ahead and do a bit of a flyby. Let's have one large reveal. And there it is. I really love how this turned out. I'm very pleased with these trees. I did build trees on the time-lapse, yes, but then after that time-lapse ended, I went ahead and I added some finer details to the inside here. So each cell now has a bit of food on the floor, a fully decorated floor, a water trout, and a food trout, because the idea that I had of the 4 cauldrons in between, the horses could jump over them and we're walking between cells. Because when I put Nether Horse in here at the end of testing the speed course, yeah, he was walking between the 2 cells, so I had to fix that. I also went ahead and used the armor stamp pack, like how we made these brushes, and I added a few bits of soul sand in I think 3 of the cells, so it looks a bit more realistic, like a horse maybe took a poop on the floor. This one, yeah, this one was the more detailed one. It's a big poop. But other than that, I didn't do too much on the inside. As you saw in the time lapse, we went ahead and added a lot of paths just everywhere. I think it looks really good. One of my favorite viewpoints for this is just up here on the roof of my house. We come up here and you just look down. It looks really good. I really like how all the dirt paths turned out. When building it, I was a bit worried if it would look too just dirty and too crazy, but it looks really good. I'm very pleased with the turnout. If you remember, before the time lapse, this tree trunk was like all of this area. It was a huge tree. I went back and I made some modifications because it was just too much. The trunk was way too big, there weren't enough leaves or branches, and it was just like a giant ball of leaves. Don't worry, the clock still works, it still dispenses the sticks out of here. All the redstone still works. And to put the sticks back, you just gotta break that stair, put them back in, and put the stair back. Also, I've never used sea pickles when terraining like overworld environments. They look really good. I've used them in kitchens as like jars or bathrooms as bottles of soap, but just on this tree, I don't know, they look really good. Not exactly sure, maybe like little rocks covered in moss. That kind of looks like it. But yeah, they look really beautiful in the environment. I also went ahead and I redid these 2 trees over by the pond. I don't know when we built these, it was like 2 or 3 episodes ago. But they had that similar issue where they just kind of looked like a clump of leaves. I've never been the greatest tree builder. I'm very good at building custom spruce and pine trees, but pretty much anything else I've never been the greatest at doing. The biggest step to making a decent looking tree recently was this actually. So the fact that I've now made these look pretty good, I'm very pleased with how this has all turned out. I also went back and I remade all of these because they were way too large. I wanted them to be small, shrubbery bushes kind of. You know, like how some fancy houses, they have bushes surrounding like the edge of their backyard. That's kind of what I wanted these to look like, tall, shrubbery bushes. And I think they turned out really nice. They really add to the environment. Now, I know the rest of the cave still looks awful. The walls look bad. The ceiling looks awful. I know, trust me. But I have a plan for all of that. Trust me, there's a big plan. Very, very big, beautiful plan. But this episode is already over that 30-minute mark. So we're going to have to really cut this short here. We're probably going to hit 40 minutes by the time this episode is fully finished in editing. So the Great Horse Course, we're going to wait on because I have future plans. The plan that makes the ceiling and wall look better is going to add a lot more area into this build, this cave environment, if you will. And I think it will allow for a lot more opportunity and just space to build the Great Horse Course. But overall, like I said, I'm very pleased with how this turned out. I think these trees are beautiful. I just can't stop looking at the trees. I also just really love the feeling you get when you walk into the stable. I think it gives this really nice feeling. I love all the wood textures, everything. The lighting, even. I didn't add any sources of lighting down here on the bottom. The idea was that all these hidden lanterns and stuff just dotted around, like that torch on this level here, would just shine down through the roof area, because stairs, trapdoors, I specifically made sure that for roofing, I used blocks that lighting could go through. But yeah, it's light enough that mobs won't spawn, dark enough to really add some mood lighting. I just love how this project came out. If you guys love how this project came out just as much as I do, you should be sure to smash that subscribe button so that you don't miss any of the future crazy survival projects that we do in the future. Anyways, this has been Mr. Gaming Aquatic, and I'll see you next time. Peace!